The power of embracing discomfort. The mind naturally seeks comfort, avoiding unnecessary effort and clinging to what is familiar. This is its way of preserving energy. Yet, true growth does not come from staying in ease. It comes from stepping beyond it, from deliberately engaging with discomfort, and from recognizing resistance not as an obstacle, but as a sign of something meaningful ahead. A lotus does not bloom in clear water. It rises through the mud, pushing against its environment, not resisting its conditions but moving through them. The mind must be trained in the same way. The ability to handle difficult things is not about brute force or willpower. It is about understanding resistance, working with it rather than fighting it. Struggle itself is not the problem. The problem is how we interpret it. If you find value in what we're discussing here, a simple, free way to support us is to hit that subscribe button and don't skip any part of the video. Each piece of information could be the key to unlocking deeper insights into human nature and your personal peace of mind. Those who achieve great things do not live without discomfort. They are familiar with it, they do not wait for ideal conditions, and they do not expect ease. Instead, they cultivate a method, an approach to difficulty rooted in patience, clarity, and resilience. The goal is not to overpower the mind, but to guide it, to train it to move forward without being trapped by fear, frustration, or doubt. The mind resists change, but it also adapts. It hesitates, but it learns. It seeks comfort, but it can be trained to embrace challenge. The difference between those who grow and those who remain stuck is not intelligence, talent, or willpower. It is the ability to navigate discomfort, to move with resistance rather than be halted by it. The mind can be shaped, its limiting patterns rewired. Growth is not about forcing progress, but about learning to move with awareness and discipline. The path. Through resistance. Discomfort is not a barrier, it is a signal. Every meaningful achievement begins with it. The challenge is not to eliminate discomfort, but to train the mind to move through it rather than run from it. The more we fight difficulty, the stronger it becomes. The more we accept it as part of the process, the less control it has over us. Marcus Aurelius understood this well. He believed that hardship is neither good nor bad. It is only what the mind makes of it. He saw that suffering often arises not from the challenge itself, but from resisting it. When we avoid discomfort, we reinforce our fear of it. When we face it, we strip it of its power. Growth is not about waiting for struggle to pass. It is about stepping into it with clarity, knowing that what feels overwhelming now will soon feel natural. Seneca took this idea further, teaching that those who voluntarily face controlled discomfort build resilience for when true hardship arrives. He believed that exposure to difficulty, whether through discipline training or small intentional struggles, creates an unshakable mind. A person who embraces temporary discomfort instead of avoiding it strengthens their ability to take action without hesitation. This principle applies to all areas of life. The hardest part of any task is often starting. Once begun, resistance weakens. The first few minutes of exercise feel difficult, but then the body adapts. A speaker fears the stage until they begin, and then the anxiety fades. Resistance is rarely in the task itself. It exists in the anticipation of it. The only way through is forward. Marcus Aurelius trained himself to face hardship with calm acceptance. Seneca practiced discomfort so that no challenge would ever feel unbearable. Their lesson is clear. Action is the cure for resistance. The more we embrace discomfort, the weaker its hold becomes. Growth does not come from waiting for things to get easier. It comes from pushing forward until what once felt impossible becomes effortless. Flow over force. Effort without direction turns into struggle. Many believe that discipline and productivity require relentless force, yet the greatest minds have understood that forcing an outcome often creates more resistance. Like the lotus rising through mud, real growth happens when we move with life's natural rhythm rather than against it. When the mind is pressured excessively, it does not become sharper. It becomes fatigued, distracted, and rigid. True mastery is knowing when to push and when to step back, when to act and when to allow things to unfold naturally. Lao Tzu, the ancient Chinese philosopher, emphasized this in the Taoist principle of Wu Wei, effortless action. He observed that the strongest forces in nature, like water, do not achieve power by fighting obstacles but by flowing around them. A river does not force its way through a mountain. It finds a path and carves its way over time. Similarly, those who force clarity or productivity often become stuck up. A student who forces themselves to study for hours without breaks retains little, while one who studies in focused intervals absorbs knowledge more efficiently. A writer struggling to produce ideas may find that stepping away allows creativity to return naturally. A decision made in frustration is rarely as sound as one made with patience and clarity. Effort should not be abandoned, but it must be applied intelligently. It is not about sheer force, but about adjusting when necessary. Lao Tzu taught that true progress comes from balancing effort and ease. Aristotle believed that mastery is not achieved through relentless pressure, but by understanding the rhythm of action. The lesson is clear. The mind, like the body, performs best when guided with precision rather than strain. To force is to struggle against oneself. To flow is to move forward with both strength and awareness. Action with awareness. True progress is not found in mindless action or endless overthinking. It lies in the balance between intention and movement. The mind often swings between extremes. Impulsive action without direction or excessive analysis that leads to inaction. Both are traps. One results in wasted effort, the other in paralysis. The key is to act with awareness, to move forward deliberately, but without hesitation, ensuring that each step is taken with purpose, rather than blind momentum. Plato explored this balance in his concept of reason governing desire. He argued that wisdom lies in allowing rational thought to guide action rather than being controlled by fleeting impulses. He compared those who act without reflection to ships without navigation drifting aimlessly. Yet he also warned against those who hesitate endlessly, lost in thought but failing to engage with the world. To him, the ideal state was one where thought and action moved together, reinforcing each other rather than working in opposition. Confucius shared a similar perspective, emphasizing the importance of deliberate action. He believed that wisdom is not found in thought alone or in reckless action, but in knowing when to pause and when to move. He taught that one should reflect before making a decision, but not to the point of inaction. A wise person does not wait for absolute certainty before acting. They take the best step available with clarity and confidence. Hesitation, when prolonged, becomes a greater obstacle than the challenge itself. This principle applies to all aspects of life. A person who spends weeks planning but never begins their project accomplishes nothing. Another who starts recklessly, without considering the best approach, may become trapped in avoidable mistakes. The most effective path is one that integrates both. A moment of clarity before beginning, followed by committed, focused action. A student preparing for an exam does not need to obsess over the perfect study method. They need to pick a strategy and begin. An entrepreneur does not need to eliminate all risks before starting. They need to take calculated steps forward. Clarity does not come from thought alone. It emerges through movement. Plato understood that wisdom lies in directing action rather than suppressing it. Confucius taught that reflection should serve movement, not replace it. Their lesson is simple. Act, but act with awareness. Thought alone does not create progress. Action does, but action without direction leads nowhere. True mastery is found in balancing the two. Let go of control and trust the process. Control is an illusion, one that the mind clings to in an attempt to create certainty in an uncertain world. The more one tries to dictate every outcome, the more resistance they create within themselves. Effort is necessary, but obsession with results only leads to frustration. Progress does not come from force. It comes from understanding how to move with resistance rather than against it. Trust the process, adjust when necessary, and let action flow with clarity rather than force. The mind, like a river, carves its path not by struggling against obstacles, but by moving around them with persistence and intelligence. The more one tries to control every outcome, the more resistance they create within themselves. While effort and discipline are necessary, an obsession with results only leads to frustration. True growth comes from focusing on what can be controlled, one's mindset, actions, and discipline, while letting go of what cannot be forced. Mastery is not about imposing one's will on reality, but about skillfully adapting to what unfolds. Heraclitus, the Greek philosopher known for his insights on change, understood this well. He observed that the world is in constant motion, that nothing remains the same for long. Resisting this truth is like fighting against the nature of existence itself. He compared life to a river, always flowing, never still. One cannot step into the same river twice, for both the river and the person stepping into it have changed. Those small steps, deep focus. Aristotle explored this idea in his study of habits, emphasizing that excellence is not a single achievement but the result of repeated practice over time. Wisdom, discipline, and skill do not appear overnight. They are built through consistent, intentional effort. He believed that deep focus on steady, incremental progress is far more effective than chasing immediate perfection. A writer overwhelmed by an entire book should focus only on the next paragraph. A student anxious about an exam should concentrate on mastering one concept at a time. A person seeking physical strength should direct their energy toward the next workout, not the entire transformation. The key is immersion, giving each step full attention and trusting that small, deliberate movements will accumulate into significant change. This principle applies universally. A musician does not master an instrument by attempting an entire symphony at once. They refine one note, one passage, one technique at a time. An athlete does not reach peak performance overnight, but pushes through one session, one challenge, one level of resistance at a time. A person learning a new skill does not need to grasp everything at once, only the next immediate action. The mind finds clarity when complexity is broken down, when overwhelming tasks are simplified, and when attention is placed fully on the present step rather than the entire journey. Laozi taught that hesitation dissolves the moment the first step is taken. Aristotle showed that mastery is built in layers through repeated, deliberate practice. Their lesson is simple. Progress is not made by staring at the summit, but by stepping forward, fully engaged in the present moment. Small steps, when taken with deep focus, create unstoppable momentum. The goal ahead may seem massive, but the next action is always small, and that next action is all that is ever needed. Self-compassion over self-criticism. The mind is shaped by the way it is spoken to. Many believe that self-discipline requires harshness, that pushing forward means being their own worst critic. But excessive self-judgment does not build strength, it creates hesitation. When the mind associates effort with punishment, it begins to resist challenges rather than embrace them. True resilience does not come from relentless self-criticism, but from self-compassion, the ability to guide oneself through difficulty with patience instead of condemnation. Buddha warned against two extremes, indulgence and self-punishment. He observed that those who are too lenient with themselves fail to grow, while those who are too harsh break their own spirit. He taught the importance of the middle path, discipline with kindness, where mistakes are acknowledged but do not define a person's worth. A person who constantly berates themselves for failure does not grow stronger. They develop a fear of trying again. But someone who treats failure as a lesson, who sees struggle as part of the process, builds the ability to persist without losing motivation. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus reinforced this idea in a different way. He believed the mind should be trained with care, just as the body is strengthened through steady exercise. He did not view mistakes as personal failures, but as signals pointing towards areas of improvement. He cautioned against self-talk that weakens resolve, and instead encouraged meeting setbacks with curiosity rather than blame. If a person stumbles, the question should not be, "Why am I so weak?" but rather, "What can I adjust to move forward?" This mindset shift is critical in everyday life. A student struggling with a difficult subject might be tempted to think, "I'm just not smart enough for this," but that thought only reinforces failure. A more constructive approach is, "This is challenging, but every difficult thing I've learned before started this way." A person trying to build a habit might feel discouraged after missing a day and think, "I always fail at this." A better response would be, "Missing one day doesn't erase my progress. I can continue now." The difference between those who persist and those who give up is often found in how they speak to themselves. Self-compassion does not mean lowering standards. It means creating the inner environment needed for growth. The balance of discipline and compassion. Buddha taught that wisdom is found in the middle path, neither indulging in ease nor punishing oneself harshly. Similarly, Epictetus believed that setbacks should not be met with self-condemnation, but with thoughtful adjustment. Their lesson is clear. Self-discipline is most effective when paired with self-compassion. When people are too harsh on themselves, they create resistance to growth. But those who guide themselves with patience develop the endurance to keep moving forward. The mind does not respond well to cruelty. It thrives on encouragement, steady reinforcement, and the belief that progress, no matter how small, is always possible. Their lesson is clear. Rest is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom. The mind does not grow through relentless force. It grows through balance. Just as the lotus cannot bloom without both challenge and nourishment, success does not come from effort alone. It comes from knowing when to push forward and when to pause. The path to true growth. The ability to do hard things is not about force. It is about understanding the mind, training it to move through resistance rather than be stopped by it. Growth does not come from a single act of discipline, but from a repeated process of engagement, adaptation, and persistence. The greatest thinkers, from Eastern philosophy to Stoicism to ancient wisdom, understood that struggle is inevitable, but suffering is optional. The mind does not resist hardship because it is weak. It resists because it is untrained. Just as the body strengthens through repeated effort, the mind becomes resilient through practice. Every challenge faced with awareness, every moment of discomfort embraced rather than avoided, reshapes the way one engages with difficulty. Over time, what once felt impossible becomes second nature. The lotus does not rise through force alone. It rises because it understands its environment and moves through it. Success in any challenge is not about pushing endlessly, but about moving wisely. Those who master this process do not wait for the perfect moment, nor do they allow resistance to dictate their actions. They take the next step, no matter how small. They cultivate focus. They balance effort with rest. They let go of the illusion of control while maintaining full control over their own actions. The lesson is simple yet profound. Difficulty is not something to be feared, it is something to be used. Those who train their minds to work with resistance rather than against it do not just endure challenges, they rise above them. They do not just survive discomfort, they transform through it. And in this transformation they find something greater than mere success. They find the ability to face whatever comes next, not with hesitation, but with certainty. The battle within, conquering self-doubt and forging unshakable belief. Building mental strength is no different from building physical strength. It requires endurance, resistance, and relentless effort. Your greatest challenge isn't out in the world, it's in your own mind. It's not your boss, society, or circumstances holding you back. It's you, the part of you that hesitates, overthinks, and allows fear to dictate your choices. If you find value in what we're discussing here, a simple, free way to support us is to hit that subscribe button and don't skip any part of the video. Each piece of information could be the key to unlocking deeper insights into human nature and your personal peace of mind. But here's the truth. Self-belief isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you create. It's a muscle that strengthens every time you push past doubt, silence fear, and take action despite uncertainty. Each moment you choose confidence over hesitation, you grow stronger. Each time you refuse to give in to negativity, you move closer to becoming unstoppable, winning the inner war. The Stoics understood that external events hold little power over us compared to our own thoughts. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Between you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The real battle isn't against the world, but against the limiting beliefs that live inside your mind. Doubt creeps in subtly, whispering, "I'm not ready. What if I fail? It's too much work. Others are better than me." But these thoughts aren't reality. They're just fear disguised as logic. To break free, start small. Challenge every negative thought with evidence. When you think, "I can't," ask yourself, "Who told me that?" Write down your victories, no matter how small. Over time, this practice transforms hesitation into habit and habit into unshakable belief. Self-doubt thrives in hesitation, overthinking, and waiting for the perfect moment. But perfect moments don't exist. Only decisions do. The moment you choose to stop listening to doubt, you begin forging the mindset of someone who refuses to be held back. Reframing your mindset. Your thoughts shape your reality. If you constantly dwell on failure, your actions will follow that pattern. But if you shift your perspective, everything changes. Instead of thinking, "What if I fail?" reframe it. "What if I succeed beyond my wildest dreams?" Mental reframing isn't just about optimism. It's about choosing to see opportunity where others see obstacles. It's about training your mind to focus on solutions rather than problems. The more you do this, the more confidence becomes your default state. Seek discomfort, grow stronger. Growth never happens in comfort. If you want to develop confidence, step into situations that demand it. Speak up in meetings. Try something new. Embrace challenges instead of avoiding them. Just like a muscle needs resistance to grow, your mind strengthens through adversity. Every challenge you overcome expands your resilience, preparing you for even greater victories ahead. Visualizing success. Elite athletes and world-class leaders don't just act, they visualize success before it happens. They see themselves winning before they even begin. This isn't just motivation, it's science. Visualization rewires your brain, priming it for achievement. Make this a daily ritual. Every morning, every night, and before important moments, close your eyes and picture yourself succeeding. Feel it, own it. Walk into the world as if your victory is inevitable. The more vividly you see your success, the more likely it becomes reality. Silence the noise. Trust yourself. The world is full of opinions, and not all of them will be in your favour. Some people will doubt you, criticise you, or try to pull you down, but their words don't define you, your actions do. True self-belief acts as armour against negativity. It helps you filter out distractions and focus on what truly matters. When you cultivate an unshakable belief in yourself, no outside opinion can derail you. The choice is yours. At the end of the day, it all comes down to a decision. Will you let doubt control you, or will you take control? Will you listen to fear, or will you step into your potential? The battle is not against the world, it's you versus you. And the moment you decide to believe in yourself, you've already won. The habit of selective focus. Train yourself to absorb only what uplifts and strengthens you, while filtering out anything that weakens your resolve. Your mindset is shaped by what you consistently expose yourself to, so choose carefully. Building self-belief. Through action, confidence isn't built on thoughts alone, it's forged through action. Set small, attainable goals and acknowledge each victory, no matter how minor. With every task you complete, you prove to yourself that you are capable. Success compounds. Each achievement becomes a stepping stone to greater self-assurance. Once you gain momentum, moving forward becomes second nature. The key is to start, no matter how small, and keep stacking wins. The power of repetition. The mind absorbs and accepts what it hears most frequently. Speak to yourself with purpose. Affirm your strength, resilience, and worthiness daily. Affirmations aren't just words, they are the blueprint for your identity. The more you reinforce these beliefs, the more they become ingrained in your reality. Surround yourself with positive influences, books, people, music, and environments that fuel your growth. When your surroundings reflect your aspirations, self-belief becomes second nature. The power of identity. The person you aspire to be isn't a distant dream, it already exists within you, waiting to be embraced. You don't need to fake it till you make it. Instead, embody the traits of success until they become second nature. Success isn't about pretending, it's about living in alignment with the mindset, discipline, and values of the person you aim to become. Every choice you make moves you closer to or further from your ideal self. The challenge lies in consistency. Can you commit to your growth even when motivation fades? The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus advised, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. Your actions shape your identity, and your identity shapes your future. Living your identity. Daily success isn't a single decision, but a collection of daily choices. The more consistently you act in alignment with your highest self, the more natural that identity becomes. Growth is a lifelong process, and your definition of success will evolve over time. What you strive for today can expand into even greater possibilities tomorrow. This requires setting personal standards. If the person you want to become is disciplined, practice discipline. If they are courageous, take bold steps. If they are wise, seek knowledge every day. Your habits shape your character, and your character determines your future. The test of identity. The true measure of your commitment comes in moments of adversity. Will you uphold your standards when challenges arise? Will you stay disciplined when it's inconvenient? Success isn't just about what you do when things are easy. It's about who you remain when things get tough. Strengthen your identity, and no obstacle will have the power to shake you. The power of discipline. When no one is watching. True discipline is not about grand gestures. It's about consistency. It's about showing up every single day, doing the work even when it's difficult, and refusing to give up on yourself. Every moment is an opportunity to strengthen your identity, to prove that you are capable of overcoming obstacles. Success is not a single event, it's a process of alignment. Your thoughts, actions, and habits must reflect the vision you hold of yourself. If you see yourself as a leader, then lead. If you value resilience, demonstrate it. If you strive for excellence, uphold high standards in everything you do. The identity you choose today determines the person you will become tomorrow. There will be distractions and temptations to fall back into old habits, but the moment you recognize yourself slipping, you must correct course. Your future depends on the discipline of today. Success isn't just about reaching a goal,